Hi everyone, welcome back to today's video. For today we're going to be making this super adorable, I guess it's like a greeting card featuring our Home Together dies, and really it's just one die from the set. But the second I saw this little die with a house in it, this idea just kind of came to mind. And I knew I had to do it, and I am so happy I did because I love the way that this turned out. Like, I seriously am obsessed with this card. It's like kind of crazy how much I love this one so much. So anyway, we're going to get into this one today. I'm going to show you all about how to make it. Like I said, we're featuring the Home Together dies, and more specifically this little die here that has, that has the little house with the heart in it. There is also another house in here that has a star. If you'd rather do that little star, that one is also a very good option. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I will start by saying this project is a little messy because we're doing watercoloring and then we're going to be doing the splattering on the watercolor. It does get a little messy. So I would just start by saying make sure that you are in an environment where you're okay if things get a little bit of watercolor on them. Make sure like your shirt, when I made this card I wasn't really paying attention and I got a few paint splatters on my shirt. It's not a big deal, it washes out really easily, or I was able to wash it out really easily, but I would just make sure that you kind of have an area where you're okay getting a little dirty, because this one is a little messy. I'm going to be using our grid paper for mine just because I like having it as a nice backdrop, and it helps keep everything nice and clean. So this is a piece of regular Whisper White cardstock, and this is cut at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is going to be our card base. Like I did with my last project, the Gilded Autumn card, I'm not really going to have layers to my card. It's just going to be one piece right on top of our card base that's the same size. I just really think it gives a nice sleek look to this card. So I'm going to grab one of my clear blocks. This is my E block. So I just did my kind of favorite crafting tools video not too long ago. Clear blocks was number 1. And again, this is just another way to use your clear blocks. Really fun and really easy. I'm also going to be using our watercolor painters. I'll be honest, I don't remember the exact name of them. Our water brushes, maybe that's what it's called. I don't 100% remember. I'm very sorry. So you have 3 different brushes here, and I played with all 3 of them, so that's what I'm going to spend just a minute talking about them. So you have this one that is big and kind of rectangular shaped, and you would think this one would be really good to do this kind of wash. What I have found is that it's not bad, but I don't get the look that I want using this brush. So I'm actually not going to be using that one. And then you have 2 other sizes. You have a bigger one and a smaller one. The smaller one is really good if you have, like, you just want to go in and touch up one little area. It's really good for that, but I'm going to be using the larger brush, this larger one of the 2, to do most of our watercoloring today. So I have this nice and loaded up with water. And then for ink, I'm going to be using Melon Mambo. I've done this technique with a couple other colors and it works fabulously. I would just kind of play around and see what colors you like. And if you want to do purple, do a purple. If you want to do a blue, do a blue. I mean, just play around and see what you like. I have, like I said, a couple other samples. I'll share those probably on Instagram later in the week just to kind of show you guys some extra little tidbits on how you can do this. And I may actually put them in the coordinating blog post below, so check that out also. Maybe I'll just have it all over the place. But for this project, I'm going to be using Melon Mambo. So this is the ink refill, the re-inker as I call them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just a few dots of this down onto my clear block. I will say for this technique, you do need a fair bit of ink. You don't need a ton of ink to kind of create the project, but you do need a lot of ink to kind of play around with. And you'll see what I'm talking about as we get into it. So what I'm going to do first, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to block off where I want to do my watercoloring. And the reason why you want to do that, oh, sorry, I'm dropping things, is if I pull in my sample here, you can see that I don't have my watercolor all over. I have it in really kind of the square right around my little house. And that's just the look that I like, and that's what I'm going for today. So I'm going to take my little die here, and I'm going to kind of gauge where I think I want it. So I'm also going to remember that I'm going to have a sentiment right under my watercoloring. So I don't want it to be perfectly centered. I want it to be up a little bit on the card. So that's kind of where I'm going to position mine. And then I'm just going to take this pencil here and I'm just going to mark very lightly in pencil where I think I want my watercolor to be. And honestly, that's so light that you probably can't even see it on camera. I can barely see it here on my piece. And that's kind of the point. You can erase it after, but I find that if you do it light enough, you don't even have to bother erasing it. And again, it's not, these aren't like super defined grid lines where like you can't watercolor outside of that. This is just a kind of a guide so that you know where you want to try to keep your watercoloring. So that's step number one. Now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our clear block and we're going to get our painter, and I'm going to get a ton of water in this. The reason that I want to do that is because I want a really nice wash, and that requires having quite a bit of water. So I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to put a pool of water on my block, and then I'm going to pick up some of the color with my brush, and that's how I'm actually going to mix my color in. I'm not going to put water in here. I'm going to use that as kind of like a palette. And again, I'm just going to drop some more water in there to get it nice and diluted. And I'm actually going to take a scrap piece of cardstock. Just have this scrap here. I'm going to throw that off to the side just for a second. And I just want to test to see if that's the color that I'm looking for. And I think that is. I think I like that color. So I am going to, I also have paper towels nearby. That's also very helpful just to help mix things and whatnot. So I think my brush might be a slight bit too wet. So I'm just going to dab it off a smidge. And then I'm going to go back in here. I'm going to test out one more time just to make sure. I also like to do this just to make sure that I get my technique and that I'm like kind of warmed up to do it, because it looks best, honestly, when you're not like super duper trying, if that makes sense, and you just kind of go freely with it. And now that I'm looking at this color, I think I might want it a bit darker. Yeah, I think that's the color I want. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my watercolor here and I'm just going to start going at it. And I just try to do it in one fluid motion. Like I said, I'm not really thinking too much about it. If you have to go back in, you absolutely can. So I start at the top and kind of work my way down first, and then I go back and work my way up. That way I just kind of get a nice even look. And I like to turn the paper. I'm left-handed, so this just is easy for me to do it this way, but you can obviously do it however is easiest for you. I keep my little die close by so I can kind of position it and see, like, does that give me enough room? And I think I want it to go a little bit further out on the sides. So all I'm going to do that is kind of just take this and do one of these little numbers here. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side to just extend it a smidge, and then just kind of blend it in a bit in the middle to kind of get it all looking nice and pretty together. Again, I'm going to take my little die, bring it in and see, do I like that? Yeah, I think I do like that. I did notice that I didn't go all the way up to my pencil mark up here, so I am going to just erase that because I didn't even get up to that pencil mark, and that one down there I didn't get to either. So that's the first part. It looks a little crazy, I know, but I promise it's going to be uber cute. So now what we want to do is we want to have a lot of ink because we're going to do this splatter technique, right? So I'm going to take my same brush and I'm going to get lots and lots of water because we're going to splatter, but I want more ink this time than I had last time. So I'm going to do the same thing. I want my brush to be really nice and wet because that's how you're going to get those good splatters. And then I'm just going to test out this color on my scrap piece of cardstock again. As long as you have quite a bit of contrast, it's going to look beautiful. So now that I have my color, I have just enough here. My brush is nice and loaded up. I'm going to grab my piece, and I actually took just a piece of regular old copy paper and I cut it into fours, and I'm going to gently lay this down on all four sides of my wash that I just did. Now, the reason that you want to do that, and you can see from these pages here, I'm gonna have to lift this one up. You can see from these pages, I've used them before, you can see how much splatter kind of gets all over the place, right? I want to concentrate my splatter right here on my focal image, so that down here where we're going to do our sentiment and whatnot, it's nice and clean. And up here, it's very, very clean. So our focal point is right here in the center. So I just took a regular piece of copy paper, I cut it into 4 pieces, and I'm just laying it flat on the card to, onto my piece of cardstock, so to kind of mask off those other areas of my cardstock. And now all I'm going to do is, again, take lots and lots and lots of that water from my palette, and I'm just going to tap down onto my brush and get those splatters all over. If you find that you're not getting them where you want them, you can kind of put the brush tip a little bit closer. You really just, I find that you just kind of have to play around and see what happens. And it'll turn out, I promise. You just kind of have to keep playing with it. So that's it. That's how easy it is to get that nice wash and background. So I'm going to take this brush once I'm done making my video and when I'm done with my project, and I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to clean it out and make sure that it's nice and ready to go for the next time. You may see that some of the ink goes into the barrel. That's not that big of a deal. Just flush the ink, or I'm sorry, flush the water out and get clean water so that the next time you go to use your painter, you have nice, fresh, clean, clear water, so that you don't have to worry about mixing colors. For now, I'm just going to put the cap back on so that it's nice and safe. And I'm going to kind of clean up my area. So let's move all of this stuff out of the way. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to set it off to the side just so that it can start to dry a bit. I'm going to wipe down my desk really fast just because I have some ink splatters all over it, and then I will be right back. Okay, desk is all nice and clean. I just use a paper towel and water and my desk cleans right up. If you ever get a little area that you don't feel like it's getting completely clean, I usually just take a little bit of alcohol on a paper towel and wipe it off, just because I have alcohol in my office most of the time. But normally I could just wipe it off with some water and a paper towel. So now I'm going to take this little scrap here, and this is just a regular Whisper White and our die, and let's go ahead and cut out our little house. Ooh, sorry, that was probably loud. I apologize in advance. If you didn't know, if you haven't seen or you haven't heard, our new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is live now, so you can purchase this beauty and cut with ease and have so much fun with it. So if you are interested in getting it, please let me know. We are also doing a special right now when you sign up to become a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And so if you are interested in getting the Cut and Emboss machine, you may actually be able to get a discount on it, as well as some free goodies when you sign up to be a demonstrator. So I'd love to share more about that opportunity. If you are interested, please, please, please let me know. So I just cut out our little house there out of, like I said, regular old Whisper White cardstock. You can see it cut out like nobody's business. Super, super easy. Let's move some stuff out of the way so I can finish up this project. So I'm going to bring back in our background piece here. I'm going to take my basic gray stamp pad, and I have the stamp here that says far apart but close at heart. This is from the Well Said stamp set. This comes in a 2-pack, so this is just 1/2 of it. I think the other one that would be really, really cute for this is this one right here that says time for a new adventure. I think that would be super cute as like a housewarming card or something like that. Super adorable. So all I'm going to do is ink up my stamp here, and then I'm going to stamp this right below where we did our watercoloring. Just like that. I'm going to put this away before, whoa, things are falling. I'm going to put that away before I break something or stick my hand in ink. I'm going to grab our card base here. So this is thick Whisper White, and this is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And I'm going to go ahead and fold this. Gotta grab my bone folder. I moved my bone folder and now I always forget where it is. Oh, struggles, I tell ya. So we're going to just crease that card base really nicely. I'm going to flip over my piece of Whisper White, and because I watercolored on this piece, I'm going to be using Stampin' Seal Plus just to make sure I get a really good adhesion and I don't have to worry about anything coming up. All over, and I'm going to do one strip just in the middle because most of my watercoloring is there in the middle. I like to just make sure it's really nice and secure. So I'm going to line this up with the bottom of my piece, my card base, secure that down nice and flat. And using that Stampin' Seal Plus really makes sure that it stays put. I'm going to take my little house here, and I'm going to use some mini dimensionals because they fit perfectly. Just like that. Let me take the backings off of these and move those out of the way. And then I'm going to stick this right here in the center, center-ish. And dun, 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 dun. That is it. There is our card for today. So I really hope you guys enjoy this one. I love this card. Like I said, I am like seriously weirdly obsessed with it. I think it's just so stinking cute. So I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video. As always, you can see all of the stuff that I've done, specifics on this project, specific paper sizes, all of the products that I used, going to the coordinating blog post, which is the first link in the description box below. You can purchase all of these products 24/7 by going to littlemooncreation.stampinup.net, or you can visit my website littlemooncreation.com to see all kinds of fun things 24/7. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!